The day my father cast me out, I discovered that doing the right thing often comes with the steepest cost. I stood in his study, helpless, as he ripped up the check for my graduate school tuition. The pieces fluttered down like confetti at a somber event. I'm Zaraya. Up until that moment, I had spent 23 years trying to meet every expectation as the perfect daughter. But perfection never seemed to matter when you were born female in the Fowler family. You're choosing that disgrace over your own flesh and blood. Dad's voice boomed across his massive mahogany desk. Lily made her bed. Let her lie in it. She's still family, I said, my voice more confident than I felt. What happened wasn't her fault. Not her fault? He slammed his fist onto the desk, shaking the papers. She accused Ryland of stealing her artwork. Do you have any idea how much damage that did to his reputation? Because he did steal it. The words spilled out before I could stop them. I saw the original sketches in her studio months before he claimed them as his. Mom stepped into the room, wringing her hands. Zaraya, honey, please. Your father knows what's best. Does he? I shot back, turning to face her. Or is it easier for him to believe Ryland just because he's a man? Dad's face turned purple, the shade I had learned to fear since childhood. Get out. What? If you're going to side with that lying piece of trash, then you're no daughter of mine. Get out of my house. Dwayne, please, Mom whispered, but he silenced her with a cold look. I stood there, trembling but refusing to shed a tear. Fine, but remember this moment, Dad. Remember it well. I left that study with nothing but my car keys and the clothes I was wearing. My phone buzzed with a message from Faith. My spare room is yours if you need it. That night, I drove across town to Lily's tiny apartment. She opened the door, her eyes red and swollen. Zaraya? What are you doing here? I stood up for you, I said. Now I need a drink. We sat on her worn couch, sharing a bottle of cheap wine. Her paintings covered every inch of the walls, bold, emotional works that Ryland had claimed as his own, using them to launch his career while destroying hers. I never asked you to sacrifice everything for me, Lily said, pouring more wine into our glasses. You didn't have to, I said, taking a deep sip. I'm tired of watching him ruin people's lives just because they don't fit his idea of success. What's next for you? I gazed at her latest piece, a phoenix rising from the ashes, wings outstretched against a fiery sky. We're going to take everything back. Your art. My dignity. All of it. We? Yes, we. I've got savings. You've got talent. Let's start our own studio. Lily laughed, but it wasn't a happy laugh. They'll never let us succeed. Your father has connections everywhere. Watch me. I pulled out my phone and called Faith. Hey, that empty storefront your uncle was trying to rent? Is it still available? Faith's voice crackled through the speaker. Yeah. Why? Because I'm about to do something that might be either very brave or very stupid. I turned to Lily. Want to help me prove my father wrong? A slow smile spread across Lily's face. You're serious about this? Dead serious. I raised my wine glass. To new beginnings and sweet revenge. Lily hesitated. What if we fail? Then we fail on our own terms, not his. I stood up, feeling more alive than I had in years. But we won't fail. We're going to build something so successful that one day he'll look at what we've created and realize everything he believed about us was wrong. My phone buzzed again. A text from Mom. Please come home. We can fix this. I typed back, nothing to fix. I'm exactly where I need to be. Then I blocked both my parents' numbers and turned to Lily. Tomorrow we start planning. Tonight, we celebrate our freedom. We stayed up all night, plotting our future over bottles of wine and Chinese takeout. With each passing hour, my father's rejection felt less like a weight and more like liberation. As the sun rose over the city, I stood by Lily's window, watching the world wake up. You know what the best revenge will be? I asked. What? Success. Pure, undeniable success. And when we achieve it, we won't owe him a thing. Little did I know just how sweet that revenge would taste, or how steep the cost of success would be. 3 months later, our studio looked more like a storage space than an art gallery. Faith sat cross-legged on our lone chair, watching me hang lights while Lily arranged her latest paintings on the exposed brick wall. You know, Faith said, scrolling through her phone, most people would have given up by now. I wiped sweat from my brow. Most people haven't met my father. The bell above the door chimed, and a well-dressed woman entered, her heels echoing on the unfinished concrete floor. Is this an art gallery? It will be, I said, climbing down from the ladder. We're opening next week. I'm Zaraya, and this is Lily, our featured artist. The woman surveyed Lily's paintings, pausing on one in particular, a woman breaking free from chains made of golden thorns. Interesting, very raw. But I've never heard of either of you. That's about to change, Lily said, her voice stronger than it had been in months. I'm Margaret from the Downtown Business Association. She handed me her card. We're hosting an art walk next month. Normally we only invite established galleries, but, she gestured to the thorn painting. How much? 3,000, I said without hesitation, ignoring Lily's sharp intake of breath. Margaret raised an eyebrow. For an unknown artist? For a masterpiece, I met her gaze unwaveringly. Look at the details in those thorns. How they catch the light. That's not just paint, it's emotion made visible. She studied the painting for a long moment. 2,000. 2,500, and we'll deliver it personally. Done. She pulled out her checkbook. And I'll add you to the art walk roster. Don't make me regret this. Once she left, Lily grabbed my arms. Are you out of your mind? That painting wasn't even finished. It is now, I grinned. We just made our first real sale. Faith clapped. This calls for a celebration. I'm ordering pizza. That evening, surrounded by empty pizza boxes and half-finished beers, Faith helped us crunch numbers. With Margaret's check, you can cover this month's rent and still have enough for supplies. Barely, I muttered, eyeing my dwindling savings. You need publicity, Faith suggested. I know a blogger, whoa. No, Lily interrupted. No publicity. What if Raylan sees it? Let him see it, I said. Let them all see it. Faith, call your blogger friend. The week flew by in a blur. On opening night, 6 people showed up. 1 was Faith, 2 were her parents, and the rest were tourists looking for a bathroom. Then the door opened. My mother stepped inside. Mom? She glanced around nervously. Your father doesn't know I'm here. Of course he doesn't. I crossed my arms. Why are you? She pulled an envelope from her purse. Because I saved this from your college fund. Inside was a check for $5,000. I tried to hand it back. I can't. Please, he said, her voice breaking. Let me do this one thing right. Before I could answer, the doorbell rang once more. This time it was the blogger Faith had reached out to, accompanied by a photographer. Just in time, Faith called out, Lily, why don't you show them your latest series? As Lily guided them through the gallery, Mom took my hand and gave it a gentle squeeze. You've created something incredible here. It's still not enough, I whispered back. It will be, she said, pressing a kiss to my cheek. I need to go, but Zaraya, she stopped at the door and turned back. I'm proud of you. 2 days later, the blog post was published. By evening, our phone was ringing nonstop. The following morning, 3 pieces had sold by noon. Unbelievable, Faith said, refreshing the blog page. The post went viral. You're trending in the area. Lily rushed in, phone in hand, her face lighting up. Have you seen the comments? They actually love it. I was about to speak when a new email popped up. My hands trembled as I read it aloud. What's going on? Faith and Lily asked in unison. The Metropolitan Museum of Modern Art, I said, barely able to breathe. They want to showcase Lily's Thorn series in their Emerging Artist event next month. Lily sank into our lone chair, stunned. That's unbelievable. It's karma, Faith said with a grin. I printed the email and pinned it to our inspiration board, right beside the first dollar we ever earned. No, I said with a smile. This is just the beginning. Now let's make them remember our names. Rising from Thorns, the remarkable journey of artist Lily Miller. I stared at the magazine cover, unable to believe it was real. The photo showed Lily in our now bustling gallery, surrounded by her newest works. They actually used my real name, Lily whispered, tracing the glossy page. Not his, mine. In 2 years, our once cramped storefront had transformed into one of the city's most talked about galleries. The exposed brick walls were now adorned with pieces that regularly sold for 5 figures, and we'd expanded into the neighboring space. Faith burst in, coffee in hand and tablet under her arm. Have you seen the waiting list for commissions? It's insane. I can't keep up, Lily admitted, running a hand through her paint-streaked hair. Maybe we should. The gallery doorbell rang. I froze at the familiar voice. Quite the empire you've built here, Zaraya. I turned slowly. Dad. There he stood, dressed in his expensive suit, exactly as he had the day he disowned me. Ryland was with him, awkwardly shifting from foot to foot. What do you want? I asked, my voice calm despite the racing of my heart. Can't a father visit his successful daughter? He spread his arms. I've been following your progress. Very impressive, truly. Lily stepped forward. Funny, because last I checked, you were calling me a fraud. Ryland looked uncomfortable, but at least had the decency to avoid my eyes. Look, about that. Save it, I cut him off. Unless you're here to buy something, we're busy. Actually, Dad flashed a businesslike smile. I'm here to discuss an opportunity. The Fowler Foundation is launching an arts initiative. We'd like your gallery to be our flagship project. Faith scoffed. You mean now that it's a success, you want in? This could benefit us all. Dad continued, ignoring her. Think about the exposure, the connections. Like the ones you used to blacklist me? Lily's voice trembled. To make sure no gallery would show my work. That's in the past. Dad dismissed. I'm offering you legitimacy. I laughed, but it wasn't a happy sound. Legitimacy? We built this ourselves while you tried to tear us down. Be reasonable, Zaraya. This cold. No, I walked to the door and held it open. We earned this success despite you. Not because of you. Now, get out. You're making a huge mistake, he warned. The only mistake I made was spending 23 years seeking your approval. Once they left, Faith let out a low whistle. That was better than reality TV. My phone buzzed, a message from Mom. He's furious. Be careful. I showed it to Lily. We need to be ready, I said. He won't let this go. Let him try, Faith said, already typing on her tablet. I'm calling my cousin at the Times. It's time for everyone to hear the full story. The following weeks flew by in a blur of interviews and preparation for our biggest show yet. We worked tirelessly, transforming the gallery into a beacon of resilience and redemption. One evening, as we were setting up the final pieces, a young woman approached Lily. Your work saved my life, she said quietly. I left my abusive husband after seeing your Breaking Free series. Lily embraced her, both of them in tears. I stepped aside to give them privacy and found Faith watching with a proud smile. You know what the best part is? She said. Every time your father tries to take credit for your success, there are hundreds of stories like that proving him wrong. The opening night of the show was packed. Art critics, collectors, and media filled the gallery. I spotted Mom in the crowd, trying to blend in. Ladies and gentlemen, I addressed the room, my voice ringing clear. Tonight isn't just about art. It's about truth. About standing tall when the world tries to silence you. Lily joined me at the podium. Every piece in this collection tells the story of survival, of fighting back, of refusing to let others define your worth. The crowd burst into applause as cameras flashed. I saw Dad, standing outside the gallery windows, his expression unreadable. Later that night, after the last guest had left, we sat on the gallery floor, champagne in hand. We did it, Lily said, raising her glass. We really did. My phone buzzed with a news alert. Fowler Foundation under investigation for financial irregularities. Faith peeked over my shoulder and grinned. Karma is a funny thing, isn't it? I thought about Dad's face at the window, about all the years of dismissal and doubt. The best revenge, I said, isn't just success. It's success that lifts others up. We clinked our glasses, not just celebrating our triumph, but the sweet taste of justice. The invitation to my cousin Sarah's wedding sat on my desk, a reminder of the family I'd left behind. 3 years had passed since I'd seen most of them, and now this invitation sat there like a challenge. You don't have to go, Faith said, sitting on the edge of my desk. Send a gift and call it good. I do, I said, picking up the invite. Sarah stood by me when no one else did. I owe her this. The day of the wedding arrived, the perfect June weather filling the air with tension. I adjusted my designer blue dress, because sometimes the best revenge is looking incredible, and walked into the church. Zaraya? Sarah rushed toward me, her wedding dress rustling. You came. Wouldn't miss it, I said, hugging her carefully. You look stunning. She does, doesn't she? I turned to find Ryland standing there, his groomsman tucks awkward on him. Hello, Zariah. Ryland. My voice was colder than ice. I saw your gallery made the cover of Art Monthly, he said, shifting uneasily. Lily's work is impressive. Yes, it is. The same work you once claimed as your own. Sarah touched my arm gently. Please, not today. Of course. I forced a smile. Your day, your rules. The ceremony was beautiful, but I felt eyes on me. Whispers, stares, judgment. At the reception, I kept to the edges of the room until Mom found me. You look gorgeous, she said, touching my hair. The gallery is thriving. You know it is, I replied. I see you reading all the press. She glanced around nervously. Your father's business. It's not looking good, Zariah. I sighed. The investigation is his doing. I took a slow sip of champagne, feeling the bubbles rise. He made his choices. He wants to discuss a potential partnership, Faith added. No, I said firmly, setting my glass down a bit too harshly. I'm not his second choice. Zariah, I heard Dad's voice from behind, sending a jolt through me. We need to talk, like adults. I turned around to face him. He looked older, worn out by the pressure of the investigation. There's nothing to talk about, I responded coldly. Your foundation is crumbling, and now you want to use my gallery to save it. No. You ungrateful. He paused, realizing the crowd around us. Everything I did was for this family. No, I countered. Everything you did was to feed your own ego. You covered for Ryland when he stole from Lily. You blacklisted her work. You kicked me out for standing up to you. And now that we've made it without you, you want to act like you were part of the plan all along. The foundation is your legacy, he spat, your birthright. My birthright? I scoffed. You made your opinion of my birthright clear when you tore up my tuition check. A small crowd had gathered, watching but pretending not to. Mom put a hand on his arm. Not here, Dwayne. Listen to your daughter. A new voice joined in. She created something incredible from your cruelty. Don't try to claim it now. Dad's face turned dark. You weren't invited. I invited them. Sarah stepped forward, her voice firm. Because they're part of the family you tried to destroy. There was a heavy silence. Dad surveyed the onlookers and straightened his tie. This isn't over. It is, I said, taking Lily's arm. Congrats, Sarah. I'm sorry for the disruption. We turned to leave, but Raylan's voice called out. Lily, wait. He rushed up, handing her an envelope. I have signed a confession about the artwork. It's yours if you want it. Lily took the envelope, trembling. Why now? Because I'm tired of lying, Ryland replied, glancing at Dad. We all are. Outside, the cool evening air felt different. Faith let out a low whistle. Well, that was a show. You okay? She asked Lily, who was still clutching the envelope. I don't know, she smiled faintly. But I think I will be. My phone buzzed. Sarah's text. Thank you for coming and showing me what real strength looks like. I looked at Lily and Faith, my chosen family, then back at the church where my blood family was reeling from the truth. Let's go home, I said. We've got a gallery to run and a legacy to build. Lily added, and a reputation to protect. As we drove off, I glanced back at Dad, standing on the church steps. For the first time, there was no anger in me, just pity for a man whose empire had been built on lies, now crumbling under the weight of truth. The best revenge, after all, wasn't just success. It was peace, no matter who tried to break you. Wait, what? My heart sank as I gripped my phone. Someone hacked our accounts. Faith was typing furiously on her laptop. The transfer was made at 3:00 a.m. Nearly everything from your business account is gone. Lily rushed in, her face pale. The art shipment for the Miami show. It's been rerouted. Someone forged my signature. I didn't need to ask who. It could only be one person. Your dad's panicking, Faith said, still typing. The foundation must be in worse shape than we thought. My phone rang. Mom's number. I answered on speaker. Zariah, please listen. Her voice trembled. He's not thinking straight. The investigators are closing in, and he's trying to destroy us. I finished again. He said if you just agree to the partnership. Stop defending him. The words shot out of me. He's stealing from us, Mom. That's what he does. Take what isn't his and call it business. The gallery door chimed, and a courier handed me a thick envelope. Legal papers. My hands trembled as I read through them. "What is it?" Lily asked, concern in her eyes. "He's suing us," I said, voice tight, claiming we used his foundation's business strategies to build our success. I slammed the papers down. "He's trying to take the gallery." Faith stood up. "Not if we take him down first. Remember Raylan's confession." Lily pulled the envelope from her desk drawer. "You think?" "I think it's time to play offense." Faith grabbed her phone. "I'm calling every reporter I know." The next few hours were a whirlwind. Our lawyer arrived, followed by police taking statements about the hack. Reporters began calling, and social media exploded. Then my phone buzzed again, an unknown number. I answered, my heart racing. "Storage Unit 247, code 1983. What you need is there." R. "Rayland," I muttered. "Faith, drive me there." The storage unit was in an industrial area. When we opened it, boxes of documents filled the space, years of financial records from the foundation. "Whoa," Faith whispered, scanning the papers. "This is it, everything. Every shady deal, every cover-up." "Including what he did to Lily?" I asked. "Especially that." She held up a folder, emails proving Ryland had blacklisted Lily's work and threatened galleries who tried to show it. Back at the gallery, we found Lily talking to a detective. "The bank traced the hack," she said. "They're freezing all transfers." "We've got something better." I dropped the boxes on the desk. "Dad's entire empire is coming down." My phone rang again. "Dad." This time, I answered on speaker. "You think you're clever," he snarled. "Playing with things you don't understand." "I understand perfectly," I said. "You're going down, and you're trying to drag us with you. But we have proof of everything." "You wouldn't dare," he said. "Watch me." I ended the call. That night, we worked with reporters, lawyers, and investigators, laying out all the evidence. By morning, it was everywhere. News sites, social media, TV. Fowler Foundation CEO accused of systematic fraud and artist suppression. Mom showed up at noon, looking weary. "He's been arrested," she said softly. "They came this morning." "Mom." I started, but she held up a hand. "No, let me finish. I've spent years making excuses for him. Watching him hurt people hurt you. I'm done." She handed me a USB drive. "This has everything from his home office, bank accounts, offshore holdings, everything." Lily gasped. "Mrs. Fowler," she said. "Call me Madison." Mom straightened up. "It's time I choose the right side." As she left, Faith checked her watch. "The Miami show's in 3 days. What's the plan?" I looked at Lily. "What do you think?" Lily walked to her newest painting, a phoenix rising from the ashes, stronger than ever. "I think we show them exactly who we are." "Then let's do it right." I picked up my phone. "Sarah, remember how you wanted to help? How fast can you get to Miami?" The next few days were a blur of preparations, press conferences, and meetings. But when we stood in the Miami gallery on opening night, watching Lily's work shine while Dad's empire fell apart on every news channel, I knew something had shifted within me. To karma, Faith raised her glass. To family, Mom added, joining our circle. To truth, Lily said. I looked around at these incredible women who stood by me, turning revenge into redemption. To all of it, I said, and to whatever comes next. Because sometimes the sweetest victory isn't in watching your enemies fall. It's in rising so high they can't touch you anymore. The courthouse steps were packed with reporters as Dad was led out in handcuffs. I watched from across the street, sipping coffee with Faith and Lily. 15 years, Faith read from her phone. Plus full restitution to all victims. Look at him, Lily whispered. He still thinks he's untouchable, even in Prison Orange. Dad walked with his head held high, ignoring reporters until one shouted, Mr. Fowler, any comment on your daughter's testimony? He froze. His eyes found me across the street, and I saw pure hatred there. You did this, he yelled. My own blood. The officers pulled him away toward the van, but I raised my coffee cup in a mock toast. Miss Fowler. Reporters swarmed around us. How does it feel to bring down your father's empire? No comment. Faith stepped forward, shielding us. My client is focused on her gallery's upcoming international expansion. Back at the gallery, I found Mom waiting. She seemed smaller, more worn. "The house is being seized," she said, her voice flat. "All the accounts are frozen." "You can stay with me," I offered, but she shook her head. "Sarah's offered her guest house," she said softly. "I just need time to figure out who I am without him." Before I could respond, she handed me a thick envelope. Inside were photos, so many of them, of me as a child, winning art contests, newspaper clippings about my academic successes, and announcements about gallery openings. "He kept these in his private safe," Mom said. Along with this, she handed me a letter, dated the day he disowned me. It was a draft of a will, naming me the heir to the foundation. "He was proud of you," she said quietly. "He just couldn't accept that you succeeded without him." "That wasn't pride," I replied, handing it back. It was control. The sound of the gallery door chimed, and Ryland stepped inside, looking uneasy. "Before you throw me out, just hear me out," he said, rushing in. Lily, freshly emerged from her studio, wiped paint off her hands and eyed him warily. "I'm sorry," Ryland said. "To both of you. I let him turn me into something I hate. I was weak." "Why help now?" I asked, my voice steady. "Because seeing what you two have built," he shrugged, "it made me realize what I threw away." "If you're looking for forgiveness," Lily started. "I'm not," he interrupted. "I just want to make things right." He pulled out a business card. "I'm teaching art at the youth center now. Those kids remind me of us before everything went wrong. They need mentors." Faith, who had been quiet up until now, spoke up. "We were actually planning a community outreach program." "We were?" I asked, surprised. "We are now," she grinned. "Think about it. Art classes for at-risk youth, scholarships, mentoring. We can use Dad's restitution money to support young artists." "That's poetic justice," I said, smiling. "It's more than that," Lily added. "It's breaking the cycle." Mom placed a hand on my arm. "This is who you've always been, Zariah. Even as a child, you wanted to lift others up." We spent the next few hours brainstorming. By the evening, we had a solid plan for a new foundation, one focused on helping others rather than exploiting them. My phone buzzed with a message from Dad's lawyer. "He wants to see you." "Are you going?" Faith asked, reading over my shoulder. "No," I said, putting the phone away. "I'm done letting him control my choices." "Good," Lily said, her voice resolute. "We have work to do." She revealed her latest painting, a massive canvas showing hands reaching upward from darkness toward the light. "It's for the youth center," she explained, "to show them that there's always a way up." Speaking of up, Ryland interrupted. "Have you seen today's sales numbers? The Miami show is blowing up." "No," I corrected him. "It's because people believe in truth and hope." Mom hugged me tightly before she left. "I'm so proud of the person you've become." As the evening light poured through the gallery windows, I looked around at my chosen family, my supporters, my allies, and even my reformed enemies. We had transformed revenge into redemption, pain into purpose, and created new beginnings. Faith raised her coffee cup to second chances. Ryland added, to building something better. Lily said, to all of us. I thought of Dad, still in prison, holding onto power and control, unable to understand that true strength is found in uplifting others, not holding them down. To all of it, I said, smiling, and to the kids who won't have to fight as hard as we did. Because sometimes the best revenge isn't just proving someone wrong. It's creating something so right that it heals not only you, but everyone around you. And that's a victory worth fighting for. And now the story continues. I'm honored to introduce our keynote speaker, the founder of the Rising Phoenix Arts Foundation. I stepped onto the stage at the National Arts Education Summit, facing an ocean of faces. 5 years had passed since Dad's conviction, and now I was about to announce our biggest project to date. Thank you, I began. But I'm not the only founder. Lily joined me at the podium, her confidence matching her extraordinary talent. Behind us, a screen displayed photos from our youth programs in action. When we started this, Lily said, we were two broken people trying to prove something. But look at us now. The screen showed Jessica, our first scholarship recipient, standing proudly next to her gallery debut. Then came Marcus, who had gone from tagging walls to being commissioned for murals. Dozens of other success stories flashed across the screen. Today, I continued, we're announcing the opening of 10 new art centers across the country, places where talent won't be judged by gender, background, or family connections. The applause was deafening. In the front row, Faith wiped away tears while filming everything on her phone. Mom sat beside her, beaming with pride. After the presentation, our reporter approached us. Miss Fowler, any comments on your father's upcoming parole hearing? My focus is on the future, I answered using the line we'd rehearsed. On creating opportunities I wish I had. And revenge? The reporter pressed. Lily cut in before I could respond. The best revenge is watching these kids succeed. Ryland, now our youth program director, nodded. Every student who finds their voice is another victory. Back at the flagship gallery, now 3 times its original size, we celebrated with the team. Faith clinked her glass against mine. Remember when this was just an empty storefront and a crazy dream? Speaking of dreams, Lily said, gathering everyone's attention. There's something I need to show you. She unveiled a massive canvas, bigger than anything she'd done before. It showed a phoenix rising, but this time it wasn't alone. Dozens of smaller birds soared with it, each carrying a spark of the same fire. It's us, she said simply. All of us. The gallery door chimed. A teenage girl stepped inside, clutching a sketchbook. Are you really offering art scholarships? She asked timidly. My dad says art's a waste of time. What's your name? I asked. Maria, she replied. Well, Maria, I said, let's see what you've got. Her drawings were raw but powerful, scenes of urban life, family struggles, and dreams of something more. Looking at them, I saw myself at her age, fighting for recognition. When can you start? I asked. Her eyes widened. Really? Really, I said, handing her an application. Welcome to the family. Later that night, Mom pulled me aside. I visited him yesterday, she said quietly. I didn't have to ask who. How is he? Changed, she asked. Or maybe broken? He asked about you. I know. But he saw the foundation website, the kids' galleries, she continued. He said you built something better than he ever did. Too little, too late, I said. Maybe, but maybe that's not the point anymore. She was right. Somewhere along the way, this stopped being about him, about revenge. It became something bigger. My phone buzzed with a text from Sarah. Turn on channel 7 now. We gathered around Faith's tablet. A national news segment was featuring our foundation, interviewing students whose lives we had changed. From scandal to salvation, the reporter said. The Rising Phoenix Foundation has transformed arts education across. We did it, Faith whispered. We really did it, Lily said, hugging me. No more living in anyone's shadow, I smiled. I looked around the gallery, at Maria sketching in a corner, at Ryland mentoring a group of students, at Mom standing tall and proud, and at Faith and Lily, who had believed in this dream when it was nothing but anger and hope. You know what's funny? I said. Dad always talked about legacy, about building something that would last. He never understood. Faith finished. That real legacy isn't about buildings or bank accounts. It's about impact, Lily added. And about rising, I finished, and helping others rise with you. Outside, the sun was setting on another day in our ever-growing story. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, new students, and new chances to prove that the strongest revenge isn't destruction, it's creation. To the Phoenix, Faith raised her glass. To all the Phoenixes, I said. I watched as Maria showed Lily her sketches, every single one of them. Because sometimes, the most powerful way to move past your past is by becoming everything someone once told you couldn't be, a force for good, a beacon of light, a catalyst for change. And that, to me, is a sweeter revenge than anything else could ever be. The prison visiting room felt cold and sterile. I sat at the metal table, watching Dad shuffle in, his faded orange jumpsuit and graying hair making him look older than I remembered. You came, he said, settling into the chair. Maria insisted, I thought to myself as I placed a glossy art catalog on the table. She wanted you to see her first solo show. He opened the catalog carefully, turning the pages slowly. The girl you mentioned in your interview, the one who reminded you of yourself. She's graduating next month. Full scholarship to the Art Institute, just like the opportunity I never gave you. He closed the catalog. Zariah, I raised my hand. I'm not here for apologies. I'm here because holding onto my anger was hurting me more than it ever hurt you. I saw what you created, he said quietly. The foundation, the programs, it's remarkable. It is, I replied firmly, and you had nothing to do with it. He winced but nodded. I know, and that's what makes it even more impressive. A guard's voice echoed, announcing, 5 minutes remaining. Dad sat up straighter. There's something I need to tell you, he said. I signed over my remaining patents to your foundation, the ones they didn't seize. Their worth. I don't care about their worth, I interrupted, standing up. Give them to Mom. She's the one who needs to rebuild her life. Are you angry with me? He asked, his voice heavy. No, Dad, I'm free of you now. There's a difference. I walked out to find Lily waiting for me in the car. You all right? She asked. Better than all right, I said, buckling my seatbelt. Let's head home. We've got a graduation to prepare for. The gallery was buzzing with activity as we arrived. Maria was up on a ladder, hanging her centerpiece, a stunning portrait of her father watching her paint, his pride now replacing the disapproval he once had. Perfect timing. Faith called out. The Times reporter is here for the profile. Actually, I said, let's have Maria do the interview. This is her story now. Mom appeared with a tray of coffee. Sarah just called. The West Coast centers are ready to launch. And the London gallery? Lily asked. Signed the lease this morning. Faith smiled widely. We're officially international. Ryland burst through the door with his youth art group. Sorry we're late. Traffic was insane. Just in time, I said, watching the young artists scatter to help with the preparations. Maria needs help with the lighting. As the space filled with voices and laughter, I stepped into my office and opened my desk drawer. Inside was the crumpled tuition check Dad had torn up all those years ago. I kept it as a reminder, but now, still holding on to that? Mom asked from the doorway. Not anymore. I dropped it into the shredder. Some things you need to let go of in order to move forward. Speaking of moving forward, she said, handing me an envelope. The divorce is final. I'm taking back my maiden name. But for you, Zaraya, Maria called from across the room. Can you come look at this arrangement? The gallery had transformed. The walls were covered in student artwork, each piece telling a story of obstacles overcome, dreams pursued, and strength discovered. What do you think? Maria asked nervously. I think I smiled. This is exactly what healing looks like. Faith walked in with champagne. A toast to new beginnings. To chosen family, Lily added. To art, Maria said. To all of it, I raised my glass. But mostly to being exactly who we were meant to be. As the sun set, casting warm light through the gallery windows, I looked at my family, the one I'd chosen, the one I built, the one that had grown beyond blood and pain into something beautiful. Mom squeezed my hand. You did good, kid. We did good, I corrected. All of us. The gallery buzzed with visitors, each drawn to different pieces, different stories. I overheard Maria telling her father about her scholarship, and I saw his eyes shine with pride. I watched Lily mentor young artists with the confidence she'd once lost. I saw Faith organizing the next expansion with her usual efficiency. This was my revenge, not through destruction, but through creation. Not through pain, but through healing. Not through isolation, but through community. Ready for the next chapter? Lily asked, joining me by the window. Through the glass, I could see our reflection overlaying the city lights. Strong, unbroken, free. More than ready, I said. We've got work to do. Because the best stories don't end with revenge. They end with redemption, with growth, with love. They end with building something so beautiful that the pain that sparked it becomes just another color in the masterpiece. And that's exactly what we've done. Thanks for watching. See you again in the next video. Stay stunned.